All right. What's up, everybody? Welcome back. We've got Clem in the top right side of the map representing Team Liquid. Straight to the quarterfinals with a narrow victory in his round of 16 match. He's up against SERRAL, representing Basilisk in the bottom left, and going for the famous 15 hatch, 15 pool. SERRAL loves this build order. He's used it very well. And SERRAL recently dominated at Masters Coliseum. But you know what's funny? Clem was the one player that beat him there. Clem could not make it past the Terrans. I believe it was Beyond that ended up eliminating him in the losers bracket. Someone else in the winners bracket, like Cure or something like that, I think. But Clem actually looked amazing versus SERRAL in their series. But SERRAL actually was ahead in some of their games. He was actually like looking very powerful. He was doing all sorts of crazy things, but it just felt like he was overcommitting a little too hard to like the roaches and the tunneling claws, and Clem was ready for it. Now Clem is going for a second barracks build, so he's doing a 2x Reaper opening, and he's really looking for some momentum with this forward barracks, looking to put SERRAL on the back foot. Clem looks a little bit more, maybe pressure on his shoulders, a little bit more stress there just at the start of the game. Where it goes back to looking a little more equanimous. SERRAL looking pretty focused as always. This is kind of prime time for SERRAL. Still a little earlier than Clem, you know, likes to get up and play StarCraft normally. Now notice he's skipping his orbital, and that's to sell a story. So the Overlord comes in, SERRAL sees a command center, he says, yep, normal 1-Rax expand build. He does not realize this is not a normal 1-Rax expand. So, he's probably going to... Oh, he's not pulling off gas, though. Right, actually, it doesn't really matter because... Is he going... Oh, he's going Roach Warren. Does he realize what's up? Maybe he realized that command center was a few seconds late. He is building a Roach Warren, so he is actually expecting some funny business out of Clem, and luckily he opened up 15 hatch, 15 pool, so his queens are out very early. Great drone micro, but not able to get that Spore Crawler down quickly enough. This is awesome. Now, for those who don't understand the whole trick that we just saw there... Oh, big thanks to the hype train, by the way, guys. We've got the alerts turned off, but that one always makes a noise. Rings the bell. This command center could start so early because he delayed his orbital. So Clem delayed his orbital command to try and trick SERRAL. Because SERRAL did such a fast opening and was already going for a Roach Warren blind, SERRAL is completely fine. He is completely solid in this scenario, and he should be able to deflect this. Now, the fact that SERRAL's only on 2 queens makes me feel like he might actually be going for his own Roach Wall in here. Oh, that queen's getting mighty low. Oh, she just got smeared across the ground. Not a single Reaper falling just yet. But look at that. Clem, careful. Careful, mate. Ooh, does pull back just in time. This is 9 roaches building. SERRAL starts another queen. The roaches have been spotted. And this barracks is floating home. So that's going to be 4 Reapers, a 5th one here. Reapers are not very good versus roaches. You see they can outrange them and wear them down. Problem, roaches can heal by morphing into Ravagers. Luckily for Clem, there's not a lot of gas to do that. But it's also the regen will tick in over time as well. Great micro by Clem, though. This is like very good micro by Clem. He's very much slowing this attack down. He's going to go around the roaches and maybe intercept the rally point and then fall back to the high ground. He's building Marauders, Marines. I think this is a really smart play here by Clem. SERRAL droning behind this, threatening with the Roach counterattack. I love that both of them have started so aggressive. It feels like SERRAL was planning this even before he knew about the proxy barracks. And Clem, of course, going for a proxy second barracks, looking for the surprise momentum as well. Both sides definitely taking the fight to each other from the very beginning. Those SCVs need to get out of there, Clem. Clem waited a little bit long, and he's going to lose 3 SCVs for it. That's unfortunate. But with the Marauders and Marines on the high ground, he will defend for now. Does take out a Roach, almost gets a second one. SERRAL's got to be careful about that. The Reapers can trap you as well. Oh, the Marine Marauder's coming out. He's going to try and grenade him. Oh, he's trying to push these roaches into the Marauders with the grenades. A Ravager goes down. Another Roach goes down. He's only lost 1 Reaper so far. Oh, my lord. The mobility of Reapers. Clem, these units are meant to be fragile. They're not meant to do much damage. Clem says, sorry, have you heard of our Lord and Savior, Clem Micro? And I'm like, mate, did you just allude to the fact that your Micro is a goddamn deity? And he said, yeah, well, most Terran players do have a shrine, mate. You want to get good at Terran, light a candle on the goddamn mantelpiece, get some incense, and start praising of the baguette. Stick a bloody baguette up on a flag and wave it out front of your house. Praise the Lord, Clem, because that was some disgusting micro, some fantastic Killer Instinct. Units lost up 4-1 in favor of Clem so far. 1 Reaper does go down. We've got some Marine Marauder roaming around the map. It's going up to 4 barracks into a factory. What the heck? Is Clem just going to try and maraud over the top? Roach Ravager is very good at surviving. I think it's a dangerous play. I would have liked to see 3 command center from him. We'll see what happens. Dark Templar, sorry, reading Twitch chat there. the Protoss has a Dark Shrine. It doesn't help them micro. Roach is coming forward right now, trying to deal with the Marine Marauder. Stim is ready. He's going to use it, but that's a lot of Roaches. And this is where you kind of struggle with the Marine Marauder. Luckily for him, the lair is very late. There's no Roach speed. You can't really get chased off creep. But Clem is playing a risky game by pushing this far forward. He's trying to use that range advantage, his micro advantage. He's got Reaper grenades. If the Roaches chase off creep, they're going to get smashed by those Reaper grenades. Marauders don't have concussive, unfortunately for Clem. That would make things much harder for SERRAL. You'd see even there, every time a grenade bounces some Roaches forward, those Roaches die while everything else pulls back. He gets another Roach. Units lost tab is still in favor of Clem, but I do think there's slightly diminishing returns in this scenario. These units are getting very weak. Oh, he does lose a Marauder, but for 3 Roaches, and he gets a Queen there, but he does lose 1 more Marauder on the way out. Clem, the twitchy kid, microing his heart out. Was that all worth it, though? The units lost tab is closing. SERRAL is droned in the midst of this to a 10-worker advantage. I actually think SERRAL may have just handled that perfectly. Like, I know that's kind of crazy to say, because it looked like he was kind of losing the fight. He did miss a lot of injects in the main and the natural, but I think he handled it as well as he could have. He got up to 55 workers. He's now going double Evo, droning behind it. He's got a bit of Roaches out for map control. Roach speed is done. Clem does have no +1 weapons yet. Oh, whoa, 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 whoa. And the Overseer in the base is there, and look at that. And he's just like, contaminate, goopy, goopy, goopy. Goops the starport. Those medevacs so desperately needed. And yet they can't get out. And SERRAL, he's going to try and take out the depots. And oh, he just killed 3 Marauders. He got 1 with the Roach attacks, 2 with the Corrosive Bile. Clem angrily chases him. Oh, 3 Marauders is an expensive loss. And he gets another Bile on top of a unit there. But, oh, the Stim does punish him. Gets a bunch of Roaches and a Ravager. Not too bad on the revenge. SERRAL's going to take the gold base on the right side. He is on 67 workers. 1-1 is on the rate for the Roaches and the Ravagers. Ling Speed's coming in as well. 3rd command center building on the high ground for Clem. Clem is on double tech lab, single reactor. The man needs to build more reactors if he wants to keep his Marine momentum going. He's going to start one of them. Finally gets rid of that Overlord perving on him from the pillar. It's a big bio army. It's a meaty force, but there's not a lot of artillery behind it. He's got 1 tank on the high ground. He's building another one, so just 1 tank building at a time. I like that Overlord going there. These Marines will move to the right side and clean it up. SERRAL is not in an overwhelming position by any means, guys. This is it's a 9-worker advantage, which is pretty standard for this point in the game. Supply advantage does not look insurmountable. Remember, that is Roach Ravager supply. Upgrades do look very good for SERRAL, though. Having 1-1 finish when only +1 finishes is very good. Single Marine does scout the gold base. He's going to scout the 4th in the bottom right as well. SERRAL is going to look to control that side. That's going to make it very likely. If any Terran's Clem here, they're thinking, send a drop in the main and then try and get down behind these minerals with another drop. That's going to make it so hard for Roach Ravager to do anything. And as long as you keep your tanks up on the high ground, you're unbreakable at home. But actually, Clem wants to do a frontal push. He's bringing siege tanks out. Clem is thinking all aggression right now. This gold base might be baiting him into attacking before he really should do it. SERRAL with a brilliant plan here to lure him into potentially a very bad decision. At the same time, though, that was a good fight for Clem. Get out of there, SERRAL. He was not expecting those numbers waiting for him. Oh, good micro by Clem. He's dodged all the biles. He's got a tank on the high ground, got a few shots off. Units lost up 1,600 resources in favor of Clem. 30 supply lead is still there for SERRAL, but he hasn't found the cash to start 2-2. He starts +2 range, +2 carapace kicks in as well. He's going to mix some Zerglings in. Oh, he gets a bile on the tank. There's another siege tank here. A couple of Lings and Ravagers on the right side will take care of that, though. And attacking into such a big concave, this is a bad fight for Clem. The gold base absolutely baited him here. And SERRAL never droned it up. SERRAL just said, look, you've seen a gold base. I know you want to punish that. You're Clem. Aggression is your middle name. I just need to give you any excuse to attack into me. And this kind of low-tier Mass Roach Ravager style is going to do very well. So SERRAL, he goes for a low-tier army. He says last time the problem is that Clem just turtled it out and survived. This time, I'll show him a gold base. He'll feel like he has to come forward and punish me, and that's where I'll get the fight with my Roach Ravager. Biles take out the siege tank and some medevacs on the back. SCVs on the front line. They say, taste my drill! SERRAL smiles and he says, I gladly will, mate. You're bringing workers with construction tools into a combat zone, and I am happy to take those trades. 60 to 70 army supply lead right now. Clem will try to split a Marine drop off. He's building a 4th command center. He's building 2 tanks at a time. He's got all those pieces of kind of production he needs for the late game. but he doesn't have the army. He's got one tank, a handful of Marines and Marauders, and that there is a vomit of Roach Ravager. That there is an absolute thundering chunder of Roach boys. They're just going to YOLO on top. The drop in the bottom, getting cleaned up by the Queens at the same time. And SERRAL there with the gold base triggers CLEM into getting just a little overly aggressive and does manage to slap it down. All right. Looked good in that last game. Weathered the storm. And he is looking great. Basilisk SERRAL on the bottom right side of the map. In the top left, we've got CLEM. And CLEM had the worst end of it in that last game. I really feel like SERRAL did not know there was a second barracks build, and yet he was already going for a Roach Warren, and that it was quite nice. It looked. And yet CLEM absolutely destroyed it with the Reapers and the Marauders. And you know what? It's actually kind of funny because he was ahead, but I think he overcommitted on the third. If he could have pressured the base without committing quite as hard, I think that would have been a bit better for CLEM. And then I think just attacking out into the gold base was just a little bit too far. And it was so perfect for SERRAL because he was not really building, no infestation pit, no baneling nest, 68 drones, which is not that high. And it's an army that doesn't scale well. Roach Ravager with a few Zerglings mixed in? No way, that's trash versus bio. If you get 2 factory bio tank, that'll be good. But I think part of the problem is CLEM, because his second engineering bay was so late and even his first upgrade was so delayed, he felt even more like he kind of had to be aggressive. 15 hatch, 15 pool again for SERRAL, guys. Very safe opening. It's a fantastic way to keep you safe against any early shenanigans. And it's just a good build. You notice he's doing the gasless variety this game. And on this map, easy to wall off your natural. So that's a really good way to play it. But he will want to be taking a pretty quick third base. So usually a third base no later than 3 minutes if you stay gasless here. And then you'll go straight into Roaches. Now, this build is hard counted a lot of 3-racks builds, like when Dark does it. So for CLEM, I think if you're a big fan of his, you're probably hoping he goes, I would say, third command center. Maybe, I think Hellion Lib can do okay against this, but you want to do things like dive with your first 2 Hellions, straight past the Queens, get in, do some damage, bounce the Queens out of the way. There's no mobility for SERRAL early on, and already gets a drone. Nice Reaper Grenade placement. The drone did not have a chance to put down a Spore Crawler. Third and fourth Queen does start up immediately. Seeing no third base yet, CLEM is like, okay, cool. But because he saw the Queen coming down, that's a tell. That tells you SERRAL is trying to escort to the third base. And SERRAL will lose that drone. That is such good micro by CLEM. Second drone kill and a denial on the third. He also, if he's really been studying his 15-15s, he'd know this early a third is almost always a gasless build. I don't know if CLEM studied it this much. I think one of the problems players are having against SERRAL lately is that SERRAL's the only guy playing this much 15 hatch 15 pool, and it drastically changes the build orders, and it's really hard for people to make these kind of tight reads on him. I'm casting enough of his games. I've watched him do the build from when he was first experimenting with it, from when Eric was doing it before that to now, and even I struggle to sometimes predict what he's going to do next. But I think it's hard for guys like CLEM who've only their verse SERRAL preparation is this relevant for, nobody else. And that's a tough cookie to cut. We'll see how deep his knowledge is of this. For now, he is building some Hellions, but it's a Hellion into 2-1-1. And I would say SERRAL's build is perfect for just getting way ahead versus this. If you dive with the first couple of Hellions, maybe you can make this good. But, okay, he's grouping up on the south. You can get past these Queens on the ramp. That'd be good. There's nothing else to defend, guys. No Roaches, no Lings. And the thing is, you could always argue, well, can't you deny drones on the third? The thing is, you just don't need to send the drones to the third, because as you get more drones, you just take all 4 gases, you take 2 evos, and you can keep the drones stacked up in your natural as well. Moving out to the third is entirely unnecessary. SERRAL gets in there, he sees the second barracks, he sees the starport and the factory timing, so he knows that this is a third command center into a 2-1-1. Okay. I mean, don't get me wrong, CLEM's got a pretty good economy build-up, and SERRAL is building 5 safety roaches. So I think you can play the macro game with a 3 command center build. You don't have to do as much damage since you only built 2 Hellions. But if you can keep those alive, definitely going to be a little more advantageous. Marine, Stim, and Medivacs are coming out right now. Lair starts up at about 440. Only 2 gases, so SERRAL is playing a very economic style. It's going to be fully saturated third base before the 5-minute mark, guys. That is what we call juicy. Absolutely juicy setup of workers. Really well done. He's going to start taking more gases. 2 Evo chambers. It's doing the split Evo chambers, which is nice because if one dies, you don't lose both upgrades. Ooh, fourth hatchery just barely slips by those Hellions. All right, the double engineering bay is on the way. That third barracks is going to be coming in as well. And this is going to allow Clem to start getting the upgrades, ramping up the production. He's going to go across the map with a double drop. I believe SERRAL already had his double Evo chamber finish. He's got one. Yeah, the second one is behind the natural as well. So he's going to be going for those 1-1 upgrades. Roach speed hasn't started just yet, though. So the Marines and the medevacs do have a mobility advantage. He's going to go around picking off overlords and really limiting SERRAL's vision. But I do think Clem would prefer to get a little bit more damage. I mean, it's nice to keep SERRAL locked on 58 workers, but he's not. SERRAL's already built 14 roaches. He's got the queens out, and he's going straight back into drones towards that fast fourth base in the top right corner. Double Drop's going to rotate south, but with the creep spread being very good, I think SERRAL maybe loses a roach or two here. And no, good pullbacks by SERRAL. Pulls back the roaches, doesn't give any units away. Clem's going to pull back. SERRAL's actually gone a really quick infestation pit behind this. And Clem, I think he's got some Hellions in the top distracting, so he can get a lot of the creep cleared here. Let's see if he can go right through the middle with these Marines, but for now, just chilling. The roaches for SERRAL always so well positioned. Clem's trying to get any pickoffs he can, but not willing to throw any of those Marines away, and I think that's the right call. Baneling Nest is on the way for SERRAL right now as Clem continues to look around this map for ways to find damage. And 80 drones, SERRAL is a scary SERRAL. He doesn't really need that 90, 95 workers or anything like that. I mean, Clem's only now losing his very first units in the game, but he gets a few Overlords creep and roaches down. And you can see SERRAL's creep is kind of pinned in his corner of the map. The Hellion run by is quite nice. These Hellions are not very useful units against a roach style. 4 drones, not too bad. The Reaper's even going to micro and get yet another drone, blocks it, building this 4-crawler. Clem showing some of those very, very nice moves. Looking pretty good, saves the drops, and he's going to pick up and pull back. And yeah, you can see the upgrades are almost finishing here. It's a solid setup for SERRAL. He hasn't really had his economy touched. Here we go, 4th command center is on the way. We've got an armory building. 5 barracks are now up, as well as a 2nd factory. I like that Clem's playing patient. You know, basically, are you just going to headbutt in and let SERRAL's roaches take good fights? Clem says no. The problem is, SERRAL's got such a fast hive that Clem is playing correctly. He's not YOLOing. He's just doing light harassment. He's taking positive trades. But SERRAL's going to have such quick Vipers. If you don't go to Ghosts, your siege tanks might just get wrecked in the first big fight at Viper Tech. Now, +2 attack, as well as +1 vehicle weapon starts. No +2 armor just yet for Clem. Clem picks off a roach, but he loses 1 or 2 Marines. He's got to be careful about that. And those 2 Vipers already started, as well as +1 melee, +2 carapace. Baneling speed is well on the way. Adrenal glands on the way as well. And this map does get quite good for Zerg in the late game. It's hard for Terran to establish and defend a 5th and 6th base. Double drop in the north finds damage, though. He's distracting in the south, but he's going to lose a drop for it. That's expensive. He does take out a few queens down there. He's going to take out a couple of drones on the way out as well. Was it worth losing a double drop, though? No. No, it was not. Units lost tab, almost dead even. This is one of the scary things when SERRAL plays this style, even though he doesn't have like the most giant creep spread and everything like that, the fact that he trades so evenly with the Terran player, whereas a Ling Bane player trades so much worse, it just kind of shows you got to be very cautious. There's no just like, oh, I'm automatically ahead. You're not. He's got a lot of Roach Ravager. As you get to a maxed out army, those units are going to get worse, but he's also got Vipers. They're gathering energy. They're both consuming off the hatchery right now. Double drop in the north. Going to find a few more drones. Clem's activity rate is very high. He has been known to find advantages versus SERRAL simply through his multitasking in the past. We saw it. There was a game on Datacy about a year ago where SERRAL was way ahead, and Clem just did this to him for like 5 minutes straight, and he kind of tilted SERRAL just with the multitasking. Already SERRAL's mouth is open. He looks like he's kind of like, okay, this should be an easy part of the game where I have complete control, but these drops keep finding damage. Like, okay, I gotta stabilize. I can't take more damage. This is really annoying. But it looks like he finally defends a wave completely clean there. Shuts down the Marines in the north as well. I'd love a few spores scattered around the top since his queens were very focused on defending the bottom. Hydra Den goes down, so he's thinking about Hydras and then potentially Lurkers as well, but probably just Hydras. Pure bio tank for Clem right now. We have not seen a Ghost Academy. Got +2 vehicle weapons, +2 bio armor. It is a bio tank force versus Roach Ravager Ling Bane. The Vipers are going to be essential, but 2 Vipers will not have enough blinding clouds for 9 siege tanks. Not if they're spread out. Clem's a little clumped right now. Clem is very clumped right now. The bio's a bit far forward. The tanks are not all siege. Massive blinding clouds, but great pullbacks on the bio. This might end up more expensive for SERRAL than he bargained for. He does bile down the tanks and pulls back, though. Excellent defense. Drop in the top gets shot down there as well. Once again, the units lost tab is actually in favor of SERRAL. That's what you got to watch out for. Those Vipers are so good, and if they get more energy, those tanks are once again clumped up. The Bio's pushing for advantages, but it feels like SERRAL is ready for it. Every time Clem pushes, SERRAL says thank you so much and greets him with open arms. Clem is looking for that traditional Clem style of I'm in your face, I'm in your face, you're not ready for me, you're not ready for me. SERRAL, though, shouting, you don't know me, son, and he is ready every single time. It feels like he's waiting for Clem to gift him these engagements. It's just, you're not meant to be this ready for this pace of Terran player, but SERRAL right now is playing on another level. He is looking fantastic. Blinding Cloud does land on the tank. Clem did focus down one of the Vipers, but the other Blinding Cloud lands. The tanks are getting cleared, and Clem's artillery that he spent the last 4 minutes of this game building up is basically a reset. He's got 4 new tanks rallying across the map, but he doesn't have much anchoring behind it. Units lost tab is barely ahead for Clem right now, even though it's a mostly Ling Bane army, and that's very promising for SERRAL. The Marine Marauder already a little overstimmed. The tank's starting to get some shots, but once again, those tanks are incredibly clumped. Clem is going to need to slow down, take a breath, and set up a little bit better for these fights. He's focusing on the Bio Micro, which is perfect as it is not going to make up when those Blinding Clouds come in. The Ling Bane is mostly on the south. An amazing Blinding Cloud on 3 tanks at once. But SERRAL, he spread the bios across the Bio Medevac. He only gets one of the tanks. That was lucky for Clem there. He's got to get those tanks in a little bit more of a spread. Third factory's on the way, +2 vehicle weapons. A lot of command centers coming down. Clem is expanding at a crazy rate. Clem is actually being very greedy behind all this, and SERRAL has not really been able to spread creep or do anything. He's finally going to send a few Lings in, realizing, wait a second, how can you keep this pressure up? You must have nothing at home. Clem says, no, I'm ready there as well, and units lost tab. We're going to keep checking on it. It's starting to creep ahead for Clem now. I think SERRAL is like, what the hell? How is this still going? He has to break this position there. Blinding Clouds all over the siege tanks, and they get absolutely wiped. Clem has to pick up the Marines and pull out of there. He's got what we call a suicide in the top north of the map, guys. That is a bunch of units who know they're on a one-way trip. Kamikaze, Marine, Marauder, run by squad. They will only get a couple drones. SERRAL's reaction is too quick. These are the guys that defended that Ling counter attack earlier in the game. And right now, units lost tab once again, so close to even. It's not meant to be even. Only SERRAL does this in this matchup. You're meant to be ahead at least 25% in Terran vs. Zerg. SERRAL's like, no, rules don't apply, man. This man is changing the laws of physics around us. And the reality, he's going to initiate an efficiency policy upon the Terran. The only downside is he's being light on the run-bys. I like to see these Banelings run in, finally probing towards Clem. Clem does pull the SCVs away. And good reaction. Banelings won't get anything done. SERRAL, though, uses the distraction to potentially set up a big engage! Parasitic bomb in the middle of the medevacs. Clem does manage to pull that one away. The Bio tries to pull back. He needs the rest of his army over here. He hasn't F2'd yet. He actually needs to F2 in this scenario, I think. Oh, God, the Banelings! Closing and getting some big attacks. Finally, he F2s and brings the rest of his army south. Clem has been really disciplined at not F2ing lately, and it's what's made him much better in these late games because he doesn't clump everything up. Funnily enough, in scenarios like that, I'm like, oh, you need the rest of your army here right now. And it's almost like you actually probably should do it. Clem has got great infrastructure. He's up to... No, he doesn't. He's only on 3 orbitals. He's got a lot of bases, but he doesn't have great infrastructure. That being said, SERRAL's bank sucks. So it's okay. He's keeping SERRAL's bank low. Clem is keeping this a high-stakes game. There is no sitting back and waiting to see who wins the ultra late game. It is we will fight here and now. And oh my God, the Widow Mines turn on the Terran. Someone, I think SERRAL sent an infester into the factory, neuroparasited the guy who was programming the Widow Mines, and just did some of the most brutal Widow Mine friendly fires on Clem's army. Clem did pull back there, but SERRAL using a neuroparasite on the factory, for those who aren't familiar, no, you can't actually do that in the game. But that's the only explanation for those Widow Mines firing as badly as they did on their own friendly units on a single Zergling at the front of that army. Here we go, Hydra Ravager, Ling Bane Viper coming on forward. Marines trying to pull back with the Ghost. There's a Planetary on the front line, which is starting to feel very oppressive. I think SERRAL's going to have to give this base up and shove through the middle with a backstab. He can't keep fighting up here. Medevac at the top does get cleaned up. The bottom fight is what really matters. Those tanks now have a layer of Widow Mines supporting them. This is turning into a no-go zone. Clem is mining this area outside the southern base. Widow Mines are there. The Bio Ghost starting to get jumped on. Those Widow Mines getting blown up by those Lings and Banes. Beautiful play there by SERRAL. Drilling Claws is complete. One of the Widow Mines finally firing, but a bunch of SCVs going down. Great play. Clem's answer to being attacked is, as always, predictable. You want to attack me? I'll attack you even harder. An Infestor pops up from underground, lands a killer fungal, but not many Banelings get on top. Only a few Lings. A few of the Ghosts go down. One of the tanks goes down. Another tank just fell on the south of our screen. There's another Infestor right now creeping underneath that Siege tank, waiting for his moment to pop up. 16 SCVs, factory losing a reactor, and look at the units lost tab. It is still within 1,000 resources of each other. That being said, SERRAL, he's only had about 1,400 minerals in the bank. That shows that Clem has kept up a big economy, 80 SCVs. He's kept up the pressure. And oh, he does scan down one of those pervy infestors that was burrowing underground. Ling's on the top coming in at the same time as a major fight on the bottom. The Ling Bane has to pull back, but he gets a punch of bio. He forces the command center to lift. And Clem, he's going to need to divert a bunch of medevacs up here as well. I think he needs medevacs on this side. That's one of the big problems. All of his medevacs are in the south, and that means those units up there aren't getting healed during and after these fights. So you've just got like a bunch of Reddit point units left behind. He tries to rebuild the factory on location, and that's going to diminish his Hellbat production once he gets there. Oh, wait, what? Guys! Oh no! Shades of Gamers 8! He forgot 3-3! I didn't even realize! I just assumed it was finished. It should have been done so long ago. He's just started his 3-3 upgrades. Oh, and he's realized that at least that's something, but what a disaster. Clem is so in his opponent's face, start to finish. Micro. Sometimes he just doesn't give himself that moment to breathe and go home and do the upgrades. Ancient Cistern, that final game at Gamers 8 was such a disaster because he did so many good things, but he just did not make upgrades, and that's what hurt him in the long run. So definitely a bit of a trauma point, something where I'm sure he noticed that and shook his head a little bit and went, oh, you're kidding me, mate. Not again. Lurker's coming forward now. SERRAL's trying to take his side of the map. Liberator's just got picked off as well. Clem does run in, kills the hatchery, runs in, but the Lurkers on both sides, making it hard for BioGhost to do their business. And this is one of Clem's weaknesses, is he's low on orbitals. He's got very few scans available, guys. He's only got 3 orbitals. And not only that, where's his tanks? He doesn't play siege tanks very much, right? He had a few from the early game, but not many more. And look at that, Lurker harass comes in. If he doesn't have a scan, that's just a dead siege tank. Lurker's harassing down the bottom as well. It's out of turret range. He cannot deal with Lurker harass. This is something that SERRAL took advantage of in their last series in Masters Coliseum on Dragon Scales. Same thing a previous couple seasons ago. You know, it was one of the big things. Clem would be dominating a game, and then you'd hit him in 6 or 7 places with Lurkers, and this low orbital style that's all momentum, he just does not have extra scans, and he can't deal with it. Finally gets rid of a Lurker down the bottom, but there's another one right there. Still one on the high ground as well. 13 SCVs going down, and SERRAL's bank is getting out of control. At this point, SERRAL can just shove him with mass Banelings, blow up a planetary, remax, rotate, hit the other side, remax, rotate, hit the other side. He can do that over and over, and that'll be great. Look at this. Hydras are going to move in. He's going to lose 1 Hydra only as SERRAL for a Liberator. An amazing trade. He's still got a Pervy Boy Infestor underground just waiting with the walkie-talkie. He's just there, man. I feel like, you know, the little tunnel systems underground, he's just there, like, poking his head up out of that hatch, radioing his friends and saying, yep, armies just moved past. You guys tell me when. I'll lock them in place. You roll the Banes in. We got it. Hatchery in the north will get sniped, but SERRAL's bank is out of control. Look at the bank. My lord. My lord. The income is crazy. 7,000 resources versus nothing for Clem in the bank. Clem's trying to go lib range. His 3-3 upgrades are finally going to be here. But what a big delay on those 3-3. Lurkerling Bane chasing him. Nice Widowmine hit. Gets a big juicy on the Banelings. But I think a command center just died, guys. He's definitely lost at least 1 command center this game. Goes to get a few snipes. I don't think Maru could win from here in ultra late game even. I don't know what Clem can do. Look at that. The fungal traps a bunch of ghosts. You cannot pick up a fungal unit. You need to wait for the fungal to wear off. And Clem losing a lot of valuable units right now. SERRAL outclassing him. Remember, SERRAL did say he was shocked that he did as well as he did in Masters Coliseum. I was chatting to him and I was recording those mean YouTube comments with him, and he was like, yeah, you know, I've been on holiday since Gamers 8. I haven't actually practiced. I just only logged on to play that tournament, and I was really surprised I did so well. And I was like, what? You weren't practicing? Then I was like, well, to be fair, everyone grinded so hard for Gamers 8. That's why him, Rainer, these guys are all still in great form. But he's definitely been switching that practice back up a notch now again, and you can really see how it's taking effect. Hydraling Bane on the south. Nice double parasitic bomb there. The medevacs as well. Infestor looking to pop up from behind. It doesn't quite have the Infestor energy for another 10 or 15 seconds. Clem trying to force the issue here, trying to get some good fights with just Bio, Ghost, and just 1 or 2 Widow Mines. It's such a scary thing to push with, and it's so vulnerable to this Pervy Boy Infestor. Unfortunately, Pervy Boy Infestor shows himself. No, it does turn it around. SERRAL's too good for that. SERRAL's re-establishing these top bases. He's got Lurker Infestor there. He's trying to Nidus Worm the main, giving Clem all sorts of things to worry about. That one Infestor, it's going to get taken out by the Widow Mine when it pops up, but it could do a killer fungal. Oh my god! No! SERRAL pulls back. I thought SERRAL was going to commit there, but he pulls back. Hatchery's going to go down. SERRAL's thinking about it. He wants to get the ghosts. He wants those ghosts a little further forward. The ghosts do get fungal, but I don't think the Banelings can get in range. And good pullback by Clem, but he's going to need to repair that planetary. There's so many more Banelings where that came from. The Banelings go in, blow up the planetary. SERRAL's rich. He doesn't need to play technical StarCraft anymore. He can get lazy even. He could just shove up the middle. There's a bare undefended base up there. These bases running out of minerals. I mean, what do you do here as Clem? He's going to run a bunch of Libs and Bio out. The Bio will go down. The Libs will do some damage at least. With Spore Crawler's about to pop up though. And he's got Infestors there as well. Oh, the Infestor on the right does get caught. Cute little harassment. SERRAL answers by shoving the bottom. An accidental Cyclone got queued up. That's definitely a misclick. Bane Hydra coming in. The Widow Mine's just splashing onto the Banelings, but not enough damage to really matter. Spore's going to finish on top of the Liberators up here. SERRAL just needs to keep going. This base down the bottom, it's the last bastion of Clem's hope in this game. Liberator did come in from behind, denying a bit of mining, which is very cute. Technically, SERRAL's only ahead 30 supply, which admittedly is mostly army supply, which is very scary, and 2,000 minerals in the bag. 2k minerals, 2k gas, it's good, but it's not the end of the world. Clem just needs a really good fight, but oh my god. How do you fight that? The swarm is here. He does bring reinforcements from the north. Army in the bottom left, SCV's getting hit by Banelings. Lings are running rampant. Liberators are doing some nice harassment. Spore Crawlers will deal with it. These Lings going to try and escape down there. The planetary did get taken out, and one annoying Zergling burrowing underneath it. Liberator there gets taken out. This Liberator in the top right, probably need a Viper to deal with that, to be honest. They're going to consume, and then you can see he's queued those up to the top of the map to start abducting that Liberator. More Liberators in the bottom. I love that Clem's doing this. Especially, you know, if a player's really stressed multitasking-wise, these Libs can find crazy damage. Problem is that SERRAL's already remaxed. He's up at a 40 supply army advantage. Lurker, Spine, Spore Infestor on that right side. The Infestor will get taken out by the Liberator. Nice siege up there. And he does take out the Lurker. The Bio's going to stim in. Clem doing a pretty good job at denying bases. The double Lib on the south actually kill a bunch of Hydras. Viper's finally abducting that Liberator there. Dude, Clem's fighting so well. Clem has this superpower against SERRAL where it's like he's so dead, but he's making it competitive, and there's an argument that it's not too bad. Units lost tab still not something any Terran fanboy wants to see. They're within 300 resources of each other on the units lost tab, and it's like the problem with that, for those who don't know, is even if you mine equal sides, normally Terran builds a lot more infrastructure, a lot more buildings than Zerg. So you have to dump a lot more money into things that aren't just army units. And you're not really losing those as the game goes on, right? So the army you can build out of the same resources mined is smaller than what the Zerg can build out of. And that adds up more than you might think. 8 barracks, a bunch of factories. More importantly, the command centers are the real big one, I find. But if you take out enough hatcheries, you get that classic efficiency, killing drones, killing Lings, killing Banes. You can make it worth it. SERRAL defuses a Widow Mine. The one on the bottom is going to fire. Third Widow Mine gets a decent shot. That base lifts and pulls back. Clem getting closer to maxed out. SERRAL's ready to go. He's not going to give him that time. Viper's pulling back. He does abduct a medevac there. The Lurker, Ling, Bane, Hydra coming forward. Lurkers do make sure they're clumped up. The Bio a little too close to the sun there. Bio goes to the north. He focuses down all the Banelings. Personal medevac healing, it helps. But those Zerglings are 3-3 cracklings. They are born with the ability to bite and chew faster than any Zergling ever. It's like they were given crystals. Special Walter White crystals before going into battle. They are amped up. They'll vacuum the kitchen 6 times in a row, man. They'll go back and forth cleaning the whole house. They are ready to bite, chew, and rip and tear. Infestor's on burrowing. He does fungal a bunch of units in the north. Clem has to throw in the towel. There's too many units out in the open there, man. And SERRAL just looking like a brick wall right now in front of CLEM. He cannot be stopped. It was looking kind of competitive for a while. And then the moment the lurkers hit, we saw that if you don't have 5, 6, 7 orbital command centers, you don't have many siege tanks, you're so vulnerable to that multi-prong lurker, and SERRAL did it perfectly. All right. SERRAL goes back to 16 hatch in game 3. He's up 2-0. And I gotta say, it's looking like maybe this series is gonna start to roll his way. You know, I actually love the way CLEM opened the series up, but SERRAL, he counted his build, man. That Roach opening, it just like took away his momentum, and then feels like CLEM just attacked a little bit too much into him. And that's why it's so funny that CLEM does beat SERRAL, and people think of him as someone that like kind of has SERRAL's number sometimes. Just because stylistically, as a guy who just takes the wind out of his opponent's sails, SERRAL should hard counter CLEM. And yet, CLEM sometimes just keeps attacking, and he does barrel through him. Historically, he's been able to do it. We can look at it and say, wow, this is silly. He keeps attacking into a very defensive player, but like I've seen him do that, and I go, surely this won't work. And he just overwhelms SERRAL with sheer multitasking. Now, luckily for SERRAL, his Overlord comes here. He wants to go in, and when he sees no commands on it, he's going to realize this is a third barracks on the high ground. We're going to see a third Reaper starting up there right now. Right? Oh, no. Oh! Wait, where's the Reaper? Okay, he started it a few seconds late there. I think he accidentally queued it up on one of those barracks first, then had to cancel it. Anyways, slight delay on the third or fourth Reaper there. Not the end of the world. The Reaper does come in, starts looking for some damage. SERRAL's already started Ling Speed, so he was playing very safe. This 2 racks wall-off meta with the Reapers is so popular that SERRAL was prepared for it. The older advanced Clash opening, where you pull off Gast with 2 workers and take a quick third, very vulnerable to this. SERRAL will have a quick Ling Speed. On the other hand, he's much more happy, I would say, in general, defending 3 Rex Reaper with a 15-15 and a quick 4 Queen defense into some Roaches. But he's going to have to make do with Zergling Speed this game. And one of the great things about SERRAL and his flexibility is we don't really see a big diminishing in his skill as a Ling Bane player. He prefers to play Roaches more often than not these days and add the Ling Bane later. But he's very capable of bouncing back and forth between the styles without looking like he's lost too much experience in that regard. Command Center and a Factory go up behind this, so the transition has fully begun for CLEM. Trying to get that Queen, but so far it's a Reaper for 4 Zerglings. Good defense by SERRAL. And the fact that he's done all this off 26 workers, whereas I see a lot of the players stop at 24, and only like at this point, after building, 20 Zerglings, 4 Queens, they're like, okay, now I can drone. SERRAL even starts a 3rd hatchery and a 5th and 6th Queen before going for any more drones. Interesting. He's got to be careful. Careful, mate. He's kind of leaving that Queen out, I think almost as bait. That's the bit of raw meat you leave in front of the Wookiee with a bloody net rope trap around in front of it. Oh, Factory's actually going to go on the reactor in the wall off. That I was not expecting. That's an interesting little bit of flexibility and a great way to punish the heavy Zergling style. Luckily for SERRAL, he built 6 Queens, but man, 9 Reapers. What is the weakness of Reapers? Just getting surrounded by mass Zergling. You add like 4 Hellions there. That's the way you do it. Reaper Hellion coming on forward. Okay, he's just going to bounce back and forth. Barracks with a reactor there. 3 barracks coming up. 16 drones in the natural, 16 in the main, and the gas is mining as well. Medevac on the way. This is a vicious timing that he's aiming for. But I think the Queens should have enough transfuse. SERRAL, don't put too many creep tumors down, mate. Don't put too many creep tumors down. Oh, the Lings are actually in a nice position to surround this. They could come back and surround it. That could be really nice if he overcommits into the Queens. SERRAL's spending a lot of energy on creep tumors. That's not gonna be transfuse energy. Oh god. Oh, CLEM can go for it. CLEM can just dive on those. He's a little worried though, and there is 50 Zerglings on the map, so with good reason. Uh-oh. Oh, SERRAL is setting up for a big surround. You gotta watch out. You gotta watch out. Closing in with a piece of bread from behind. The Zergling Queen bread in front, falling back. It's a trap. It's a trap, CLEM. Watch out. Watch out. SERRAL comes in from the right. He tries to run north. But SERRAL, with a beautiful trap, surrounds those units, gets 3 Aliens and 3 Reapers for only a few Zerglings. Well defended by SERRAL. Now, luckily, he saves a bunch of the units. He'll get home and still be okay. Will CLEM. But guess what? Where's the third command center? It does not exist. He's stuck in a very aggressive 2-base mode right now. Good Hellion shuffle and some big shots with the Hellions. Ow! 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 SERRAL wisely pulls back. SERRAL's worker count was not that amazing, but the freedom he's just bought for himself gives him an explosion. He was stuck on even workers with Terran, never a good situation, but after killing that army, he drops a 4th, he fully drones his 3rd, and suddenly, we have a Zerg that is looking like he's going to get out of control. Gas is still a little low, but now he's got the 2nd and 3rd gas mining. He's got a lair finish, so he can start Baneling speed. Then he'll go for Carapace. Like, it does feel like a pretty good spot to be in. Reaper, Alien, Marine drop coming towards the main. The Lings are already there. SERRAL knows his opponent very well. Oh, Clem, no. Clem does try to unload right in his face. Getting a little bit ambitious there, and the Lings well positioned by SERRAL to stop him getting a clump. If he got a clump in the corner, shoulder to shoulder, the Lings wouldn't have surface area, but SERRAL quickly moved forward and denied that. Clem desperate to get more damage done. He knows with this kind of aggressive 2-base style, he can't just let this happen. He cannot let a 4th base get up here. And he will, it looks like, be able to deny it if he just chooses to click on it, but he didn't click on it early enough, and now he has to back off. It is very damaged. It may go down in the future, but a great defense by SERRAL. He's got a 5th in the north. Carapace upgrade on the way. And that 3rd command center for Clem. Yes, it's building, but notice he's not non-stop producing workers right now. I mean, I guess that's partially just because he's supply blocked at this moment. Going to come forward more Marines and a single siege tank. I wouldn't mind him putting the tank back here, like somewhere very far away, because SERRAL has been really good at pouncing on top of his territory right now. Keep it back. Don't go too far. Oh, he's actually got 2 tanks. Oh, okay. One there. Seems like the play. Not a bad way to do it. Oh, he's actually going to shuffle. Yeah. Both sides of the gas. That reaches pretty far forward. The Reapers are going to stay back with the Hellions. And that is a free 4th base kill. SERRAL wisely doesn't take a bad fight there. He's just like, okay. You kill my 4th. I got a new one up here. And also, any SCVs on that 3rd are dead. Oh, he tries to only show a few Lings, but I think Clem can realize there's more than that. I like the Marines trying to hide in the corner there. Big drop in the main. Ooh, Baneling speed comes forward, but good plays by Clem. Oh my lord. Oh my lord. Clem's in trouble right now. SERRAL's going for broke. SERRAL going for a vicious Ling Bane shove. He did this to Maru on Neo Humanity and Masters Coliseum as well. I have 100 Zerglings and I'm not afraid to use them. It's a good maneuver. There is Banelings blowing up on SCVs. The SCVs trying to guard that siege tank against the Ling onslaught, but they have to get out of there. The Marines run back in. They do gun down some of the Banelings. There's no Banelings left on this map. He has caught SERRAL being a little bit too aggressive, maybe. He only loses 14 workers. Clem can shove it. He actually catches some Banelings morphing there. He could take out this other hatchery to the north. The Baneling nest is exposed. Unfortunately for Clem, he did not take it out. Where are most of these Banelings morphing? Just up here to the north. Clem's going to try and set up the ultimate spready. He's going to see if he's got that gymnastics power. Tanks are shelling on the Queens, but the Queens are tanking like mad. Should they be wasting all of their hit points and energy before the Ling Bane's ready to fight, though? That is the question. Clem, if he brings this game back, it would be massive. He needs it now. He's up 22 army supply. His economy sucks. It's so bad. The Finnish Zerg coming after him. The Marines in a big old ball, but that's a lot of Banelings. The tank focus fire was good, though. There we go. Very nice focus fire. Only 1 tank left standing, though. He's going to go after the Baneling nest. If he went for that earlier when there was a dearth of Banelings, it would have been a winning move. Unfortunately, he did not realize the Queens are starting to fall. They are out of energy, but the bio very damaged. He's got a little shovey shove in the north of the map. It's taking a while for his Marines to get there. He's got to pick up. Oh, he focuses the Banelings down. Clem! The micro of the gods, he focuses those down. 1 Baneling connects. That's a big problem. Is it, though? Marines in the top. Oh, there were Banelings ready. SERRAL saw that attack coming. Somehow, he had Banelings ready, and he managed to deal with it. The Medevacs flying over the Queens, trying to get to the south. They're trying to protect this right now. SERRAL looks stressed. So does Clem. Clem's economy sucks. He's trying to rebuild it now, which I think is a good call, but his armory's just started, and remember, +2 Carapace already halfway done for SERRAL. As these Medevacs get here, it's going to give Clem a bit more play. He should absolutely be sieging that tank on the low ground. There's no reason SERRAL should be able to mine from these bases. Lings run in right now on the 3rd. That's going to distract Clem. Clem does catch another Queen. There are 8 Queens on this map right now. Baneling nest is being rebuilt preemptively. SERRAL has done a fantastic job Second engineering bay coming in along with the armory. A few liberators coming out. Banelings are morphing. They're going to go for the roly-poly right now. I don't know if SERRAL's playing StarCraft 2 or he's playing Dark Souls. He's about to whip off his armor, drop his giant sword, and put on his undies and his pointy stick, and he's going to roly-poly! Gets a decent hit. Doesn't get as much as I thought he would. The Marines did tank most of it. Only a few SCVs go down. 13 SCVs have gone down. 0 drones have died this entire game. How the hell is that possible? Just shows how good SERRAL's defense has been. And he's going to break it. Amazing break here. Some of the Marines get saved, but not all that many. Going to try and pick up to the high ground is CLEM. If you can focus the Banelings, that would be good. There's only 2 Banes there right now. There's only 2 Banes on the entire map. He picks up and goes back to the low ground. He says, morphing Banes, free pickoffs, let's go! And he's actually taken out a few of them. Remember, they do have a couple of armor and 50 hit points, those Baneling cocoons. The Marines fighting here. The Queens are actually doing pretty well versus the Medivacs. And another tank and more Marines come. Oh my lord, it's a knife fight in a phone booth right now. This game is getting so claustrophobic. The Banelings of SERRAL cannot quite get on top of the Marines. And oh my lord, that is top tier StarCraft. CLEM not going down without a fight. Right. SERRAL in the top right side, opening up with hatch gas pool again here on altitude. And CLEM in the bottom left side, playing Terran. Just realized this is altitude, so this map does have a little lower performance than the other ones. So apologies in advance if we have some frame drops. If it's like Lingbane versus Bio and there's like 100 Banelings on creep versus a ton of Marines are splitting, we'll probably have the frames drop a little bit here on altitude, but hopefully it's only in the biggest battles. Should be a-okay. Now that was really clutch from CLEM in that last game. That was kind of insane. He did so good. To get back in. The counterattack from SERRAL looked very scary, but he exhausted all of his Banelings, blowing up the wall, and only a single Baneling got on the SCVs. And CLEM did some clutch hold position micro with some SCVs. Some SCVs fought against the Lings, some blocked the Lings, and some repaired the tank. And that tank did an amazing amount. His rally of Marines grouped up out of his main, and they did great as well. So I just really feel like in general, CLEM did everything right to defend there, and then he did do the clutch micro on the counterattack as well. Some beautiful spreadies, and it's just that perfect mixture of clumping your Marines up to have insane density of firepower, and then spreading at the last second when needed. Stutter stepping so close to the Banelings that they're always in reach of your guns, but you're just outside of their explosive radius. Like, there was all these little details that CLEM was doing so well in that last game. Now, CLEM, I don't know if he knows he's being spotted. Overlords have very long vision. Comes in, sees the third command center, flies out. The Marine was watching for the Overlord coming in behind the natural, but SERRAL changed it up. This is the beauty of SERRAL's play. These little details are constantly changed, guys. Like, there's so many players who just go on autopilot. They're like, oh, I just always send my Overlord in here. And the Terran's like, I'm always ready for it. But SERRAL would just be like, you know what? 50% of the time it comes in here. Or 30% it comes in here, 30% it goes around the left edge, 30% goes down the bottom right edge. Like, you know, it's just randomized enough to be very difficult. And that's where correct strategy comes in. I don't think SERRAL did that well on the correct strategy in 2018 in terms of just like little adjustments to trick his opponent, little bits of trickery, little bits of countering his opponent. It was so like, I will play the most standard, safe, and solid style and be better than everyone. And the fact that he's evolved and continued to reinvent himself as a player has given me his eternal, it's given him my eternal respect, is how I should say that. Because it's a very hard thing to do. Something few gamers, players like Flash, famous for having to do it pretty much every week playing Pro League in Korea for many years in StarCraft 1. Always having builders, players, you know, gunning for them in best of ones and not really having the protection of a best of 3 or best of 5 series to recover. Reaper Hellion does get stopped here. Great defense by SERRAL. Very solid play so far, and it's a Hellion Banshee opening. Banshee openings, I think are, I would say they can be good, but especially when it's scouted like this, it's going to be difficult to get much value. The Hellions did get a drone there at least, so a bit of mining time, force an extractor trick, got a drone. The lair being quite quick tells us, of course, nothing about SERRAL's intentions. He just wants that for the Overseer to defend the Banshee. And CLEM, no doubt, will be going Bio. There we go. Second and third barracks behind. There's part of me that was like, you know, it'd be fun to see him try mech, but the only mech I've really seen look like it could compete with SERRAL in the mid-game was Gumiho on this map against him in the Sweden finals earlier this year, where he went for mass Hellbat drop. with a couple of tanks, a lot of Thors, and we just spam Hellbat drops on Serral's army. And it was really effective, and it was doing really well. And then he tried to go battle cruisers and lost. Lance Banshee's getting pretty good damage. Sporkriller just a little bit late. Not bad. Clem's doing pretty alright. He's got second and third barracks up, 2 engineering bays. Now this map is really interesting because definitely it's going to favor, you know, the more aggressive player in many aspects of like multi-prong. The bases are spread far. They're spread thin. It's very hard to deal with that. And look at this, guys. That Overlord is specifically trying to help Serral spread creep, and he's trying to bring it over to the left so that he can actually get some creep over there as well. Serral's one of the best lately at using Overlords to help spread creep. Very few players do it except for him. That 4th is going to go down, guys. As long as Clem commits to it. But he doesn't want to risk it. He didn't want to risk losing the Hellions and Banshees. Okay. Backs out of that. That Banshee comes in on the top right. It's up to 5 kills. Looks like... Did he just cancel a structure? I don't know if that was just a Spore Crawler to save a drone or if it was something else. Probably just a Spore Crawler to save a drone from the Banshee. This Banshee's going to come back in on that left side. 64 drones for Serral, 54 workers for Clem. Clem now building 5 Marines at a time. He's got 1 on the way. His barracks placement a little bit dodgy. Definitely looks a little chaotic there in the main base. I definitely feel like Clem and Maru always are a little more chaotic with their base placement than guys like Inno. That Banshee comes back in, grabs a drone. Very good with the old in and out, mate. That guy's got 6 kills, or that girl. That one's on 2, make it 3, make it 4. This is surprising that Serral's letting him do this much. I didn't think there would be 10 drones, a Zergling, and an Overlord for so few investment. You know, yeah, I guess he built 6 Hellions, he built 2 Banshees and Cloak, but definitely feels like Clem's got through the mid-game on even or better footing. Starts a quick 4th command center. Meanwhile, Serral going Infestation Pit. He's thinking about Vipers already. Those Vipers, such a big part of his efficiency. If we really think about it, his ability to Blinding Cloud siege tanks and Parasitic Bomb medevacs, and the way he consistently uses the spells, and then he tells the Vipers to run back, consume on a hatchery, and queue back to the front. The moment they're back, he uses the spells, does a little engagement, runs them back. And it feels like that's what his whole ZvT is based around lately. Siege tank gets a good shot there on the Queens. 1 Queen falls, a couple of Creep Tumors going down. Cute little positioning on the tank. The Hellions are going to try and stop that Ling flank, but look at Serral with some cute Ling positioning. Can he get a wraparound? Hellions are a bit exposed. Marines run forward. They're trying to focus the Banelings. Oh, Clem going for a high-risk play. No combat shields yet. There's way too many Banelings on that right side. The Marines running towards the Banelings like the psychopaths they are. Clem, this man must only recruit from thrill seekers, man. He must go to people that bungee jump and do those like canyon windsurfing and stuff like that. Because you see those Marines sprint towards the Banelings, and you realize these are the sort of psychopaths that sign up for the military who play tag the Baneling. These are the guys who come up and try to touch the tank, the tracks on the enemy siege tank before blowing it up, you know, just to say they did it. Clem Marines know no fear. They know no respect for the enemy. Units lost tab in favor of Clem. A bit more of a traditional Ling Bane versus Bio tank spread on that. But as the game goes longer, it becomes very hard for Terran to defend these bases. I wholly expect Clem to play the Biomine Ghost play that he did earlier on whatever game 1 was. Royal Blood. Was it Royal Blood? Yeah. Just a constant, or maybe it was game 2. Whichever one it was, the constant Biomine Ghost, it was on Babylon actually, where he's just attacking from all sides, trying to control the map. That's what Clem likes to do. But the thing is, we saw that it's late to lurkers. It's weak to lurkers. He's late on his 2-2 right now. He hasn't started it just yet. Clem's way ahead on supply right now, though, so if he can fight 1-1 versus 2-2 with this momentum advantage, it could be good. The Banelings ain't finding nothing right now. Beautiful Marine spready from Clem. That 5th base is in jeopardy. Serral's going to jump on top. He will have to pick up. Watch out for the Widowmine. Nice defuse from Serral on the south. Whoa! He goes for a Marine drop in the main. One of the medevacs gets shot down. Clem is maxed out crazy fast. He's got massive Widowmine production. He's got a 4th up. He's clearly winning this game, except he forgot his upgrades again. He's just started +2 attack. He needs to start +2 armor as well. It's so important. And there we go. He does start that. He starts vehicle armor as well, but 2-2 is 75% complete for Serral, and that's a problem. That being said, if he can deny the base on the left with this half the army and try to deny that base, I mean, if he keeps Serral on 4 bases, Clem is way ahead in supply. If he can force kind of just straight up fights right now, he's still got a 20-30 second window. Well, a lot of those Widowmines had not burrowed yet. Definitely a problem. Does deny the hatchery, but those Widow Mines not able to do too much. Not the most elegant setup there for Clem. Too many medevacs on the right side, and no Widow Mines over there, whereas there's no medevacs on the left and too many Widow Mines over there. So he's going to have to even out the balance of units on this map if he wants to keep up the multi-pronged pressure. So far, he's doing pretty well. SERRAL needs to get his queens down here. Those queens, where are they? I guess they moved to the left side of the map. The Vipers are finally going to throw some parasitic bombs, but man, the Marines. How are the Marines just never getting touched? Look at SERRAL's face. Look at SERRAL's face. That is the face of a man who is angry. It is unfair that Clem is this good with his Marines. SERRAL is like, are you serious? Are you serious? I just rolled 50 Banelings at you. How are your men still standing on creep? Clem with a big smile on his face, bayonets fixed. He said, dude, you know how I recruited this Marauder? I heard from his sergeant that he ran towards a Baneling and bayoneted it with his rifle rather than shooting it. Of course I hired him for the Clem military. These guys are straight psychopaths. They pick up in the main base. They're going towards the hive. The man is mad, and his micro will not be stopped. He's got momentum on his side, and it's very tough for SERRAL to keep up. One of the few players able to smother SERRAL. As I talked about earlier, it is a big problem for Clem to overextend into SERRAL too much. But sometimes he just does it, and he overwhelms with raw speed, power, commitment, and passion to shoving his Marine Marauder into every Zerg orifice. SERRAL drops a map on altitude, a map that's meant to be good for Zerg vs Terran, and Clem ties up the series. All right, guys. We've got Liquid Clem down here in the bottom right side, rallying in this series. I kind of wish I was actually play-by-playing the Marine Ball a bit more. Sometimes you look at it, you're like, okay, Banelings roll in, you focus 1 or 2 down, you pick up and leave. And it kind of just like, it's like I was watching a slideshow almost of just Banelings get popped and Marines stand their ground. And I was like, are you not going to leave from here? No? Oh. I'm like, oh God, he's just going to win the game. Yeah, Clem is very good at judging that, man. Clem and Beyond, 2 of the best in the world at just standing a ball of Marines on creep, knowing when they have to pull back and when they can stand. SERRAL, definitely a bit more serious business now for him. No hood up for SERRAL. Clem looking pretty chilled. He had to take a bathroom break after that last game, but wow. Very exciting to see where the series goes. This one is now Clem's map pick, so we're kind of back on Clem's map pick and SERRAL's map pick. They've both lost one of their own maps. Clem losing Royal Blood, SERRAL losing Altitude. And they've both won one of their own maps as well. So tied up 2-2. It's a best of 7. This is why I love the PiGFest format. You know, day 1 of the tournament, we go round of 16, straight into the quarterfinals. We get straight into one of the big, very meaningful best of 7s. And then those players get to kind of rest and prepare as the rest of these stages get played out. Now, pulling off gas a little bit earlier is SERRAL this time around. Does start Ling speed there very quickly. So he's definitely enjoying the quick Ling speed. I don't know, man. I still feel like Roaches have kind of been god tier, but I think SERRAL is like, look, I'm not going to be perturbed. The Ling Bane didn't work out. It happens. I'm still not going to just feel like I have to play Roaches every game. That's kind of the trap that Dark's fallen into, I feel, recently, where he's become predictable at going Roaches every game, and when he doesn't, every Terran knows they can just hit a timing attack, and they'll almost always be able to kill Dark's Ling Bane before late game. It's like, maybe not 100%, but I feel like it's like maybe 65% of Dark Sling Bane games, he just dies before he gets to late game. And the thing is, that only gets worse and worse the more you kind of huddle with your Roaches, worrying about the Marine Ball and the Widow Mine shots and the multi-prong. Clem is going for a gas first build, by the way. I should have pointed this out. This Reaper was a little later than normal, so you might be thinking, oh, I didn't do any damage. But these Hellions are very fast. Now, I think he was hoping to catch SERRAL playing gasless and do a Hellion run by, because you could do it so fast with this build, but having seen Ling speed on the way, he's going to realize, oh, okay, if I do it, it's pretty risky. So I don't think it makes sense to run in with the Hellions. He's committed, though. He's committed. Clem not reacting to the fact that his Ling speeds are really early. He might have hoped it was later. Good Ling micro. The Reaper is in the mineral line as well. The Reaper and the Hellions getting defended very nicely. 3 Zerglings, guys. 1 Zergling for each Hellion and Reaper. That's what we call a very bad trade for Terran. Not only that, keep in mind, he committed a lot. His Command Center was slightly delayed. His Reaper was slightly delayed. So he's committed so much to do this early Hellion Reaper dive, but SERRAL's quick Ling speed, which he's doing because he's so worried about those Reaper pressure builds, those 2 and 3 Rex Reapers, it actually kept him safe against this. And this is part of the beauty of SERRAL swapping between the gasless 15 hatch 15 pull, the straight to roach build with no link speed, and the fast link speed, is that one of the weaknesses of the 15-15 does get defended by the quick link speed of this. So working out well for SERRAL in the early game, but of course it's CLEM. Don't count him out. Banshee down the right, command center there, cloak on the way. Stim coming in, and we expect another reactor. So the factory is just doing its job as a reactor builder right now, and look at that. The SCV moves up as he gets 150 minerals, starts that barracks right on time. And hey, SERRAL going for Roachhorn and Lair. Oh, should we even be surprised, guys? On this map especially, there's some nasty tank spots, so it makes perfect sense. I think we're just going to see 1-1 upgrades, mid-game Roach Ravager into Ling Bane, kind of like what he did on Babylon. It's one of his favorite styles, and I think he's so good at it. Double Engineering Bay going down for CLEM. He's adding a second and third barracks. Expect the double gas on the natural right there. Hellions thinking about darting in, but there's plenty of Zerglings out. 17 on the map, so threatening to make sure SERRAL builds those Zerglings and doesn't feel like he can get away with murder. And 2 drones, 1 drone. Doesn't quite get it. Lings and Queens scaring back. Banshee's coming up the guts right now. Spores are already ready in each base. CLEM will not be able to find a lot of damage. Coming in together. Hellions on the left, Banshee's on the right. Hellions thinking about driving in. They pull away. Banshee's going after the Queen. They actually take out a Queen. SERRAL not transfusing. That's surprising. And the Spore Crawler moving there, entirely unnecessary. SERRAL just lost himself 5 drones for no particularly good reason. Does pull off the main, though. That preemptive pull was beautiful. Pulling off the gas and those top mineral patches. Oh, and I think that Spore was a bait. Was that a bait? I feel like he ran that Spore there trying to bait them into trying to shoot it so he could build a Spore Crawler with it, but they ended up getting 7 drones, so a successful flyby there for CLEM. I say successful, it's not crazy damage. It's like, hey, that's good, you got some damage, but you lose a Banshee for it. And not only that, you're up 14 workers as SERRAL. So SERRAL's like, you can be like, wow, you did some damage, but it's late damage, it's slow damage. It's not that high impact early game damage you wanted with the Hellion run by. Hellion's microing pretty well though. CLEM, oh, and he decides, okay, I'm probably gonna get surrounded. I'm a bit too deep on creep. I might as well take some drones with me. Brings the total up to 14 workers killed, and the units lost type now in favor of CLEM. Oh, looks like an Overlord did do a bit of a poopy on CLEM's third base. This is one of, oh, the tanks is oh no! Remember I was talking about building placement earlier, guys. Haphazard building placement. Maru and CLEM both do this. They throw their buildings down a bit randomly, and he has walled off that right entrance. He needs to lower that depot. He's going to be looking around and going, where the hell are my tanks? He finally realizes, but that does soften this push by a good 20 or 30 seconds. And 20 or 30 seconds in this matchup against SERRAL, I mean, it was already a bad push because this is Roach Ravager, and now it's a terrible push. And it's even worse because he doesn't seem to notice it's Roach Ravager. If he knew it was Roach Ravager, I don't think it would make sense to push right now. It's crazy to be attacking into Roach Ravager with this army. CLEM playing high risk, high reward StarCraft. A couple of Infestors on the way, a Hive, a Hydrant, and SERRAL is admittedly being very greedy. 77 workers and all that, but what are you going to do with a tank push here? He could just morph Ravagers and bile you from the high ground or the low ground. I don't really think he's causing much of an impact at all. I like the drop going down the right side. Second factory's on the way as well as an armory. This changeling walks in. Howdy, Bob. My name is Jeremy. I'm a normal Terran. How about those SCVs, eh? It's always drilling. The other Marines look sideways at Jeremy and wonder what the hell his deal is, but apparently not bright enough to realize he's clearly not an actual human. The Marines and the tanks over there are going to pull back from that high ground. Good little drippy droppy, could do some damage. Okay, he's going to get nice snipe there for SERRAL. I mean, this is not good damage for CLEM. I think CLEM needs to put it away right now. He's going to need to holster these Marines. Does get a Ravager, but he's going very deep. Luckily, there's no anti-air to punish it. But even with a few Ravager kills, I don't know how effective that really is. I mean, he gets a little bit... Wait, why are there still Marines up here? Didn't he kill that? I think the Queens are all stuck behind each other. This trades favor SERRAL, in my opinion. SERRAL's got a 2-2... Oh, his carapace is a little delayed, but he's got fungal energy out now. His Hive's done. He's going for Lurkers, so it's Roach, Ravager, Infestor into Lurkers. Top right base is a little undefended. No, Roach is in nearby. Never mind. They can grab a Queen and get out. Not too bad. Fourth base starts for CLEM. He's going up to 6, 7, 8 barracks. He's already got the 2 factories pumping siege tanks. At least he didn't forget his 2-2 this time around. That's been really haunting him this series. He's got to make sure he fixes that. More Jeremys coming across the map right now. Blah, blah, blah. Looks like the other Jeremy's hanging out over there as well. Big Fungal could ruin your day. Clem's way too clumped. He saw an Infestor earlier. He sees it again. Get out of there, Clem. Spread, spread, spread. Okay, good pullback and spread there. Very good precautions. And it's crazy to be trying to push up this ramp into Roach Ravager Infestor. But he's dancing on the edge of danger, and that's Clem's specialty. A position where no Terran would dare push, and Clem will push. And it's what puts you on edge when you're against him. You can tell SERRAL gets really frustrated when he does this, because he's like, you're not meant to do this. This is crazy. It's not meant to work. And Clem's just so comfortable dodging Fungals at the last second, keeping his tanks just barely out of range, that it actually works out okay. Marine Siege tank there. Planetary or Command Center is going to float out to the fourth. Oh, I look away for a second. A giant Fungal lands. But you know what? Even at 25% movement speed, he's spread. He didn't lose that many Marines. Units lost tab right now. 1,600 resources in favor of Clem. He copped a big Fungal, but if there's not a second Fungal or some Biles to capitalize, the units don't necessarily die, especially with a lot of medevacs healing them. Oh, he does clear the base in the middle. SERRAL, he's got Adaptive Talons on the way. Oh, good Fungal. Catches a bunch of these units. The Marines afraid of that. Oh, the tank focused the Infestor. The high energy Infestor did get hit by a siege tank shot. It's very fragile right now, just 18 hit points. The Lurkers, though, careful, Clem. Clem's going to try and shove on top of the Lurkers. The mad lad that he is, shoving between the bases. He's trying to play Ghost behind this. It's 2-2 versus 2-2 upgrades. No upgrade advantage for SERRAL this time. But SERRAL starts +3 range, and Clem does not. Lurker harass on the right side. Remember, he's only got 3 orbitals, as is the nature of Clem. He's got a lot more tanks this time, though, so I would argue he's not as vulnerable to this sort of Lurker harass, because they'll often be walking into things like siege tanks, whereas when you're only using Biomine, the Lurkers have a range advantage on you, and that is ruining. Marauders do take out there. The Lurkers are hitting these Marines, though. Oh, and Fungal Lurker on the right as well. Clem pressing too deep into the enemy territory. He gets punished. The Lurker run-by coming up there as well. SERRAL realizes, I know you don't have enough scans. If I just keep trickling these Lurkers in, you'll be screwed. But there's no Vipers, and the tanks are letting their presence be known. Biles landing on top, but there's so many siege tanks. The Lurkers can't even get in the ground. The heavy tank counter Clem serving him so well versus the Roach Ravager Lurker. Unfortunately, this Lurker never died. That Lurker has 8 kills. They're all Marines, Marauders, and Ghosts. Those 2 Lurkers do go down. This Lurker, though, causing so many problems. Finally, it gets popped both sides, having a mixture of amazing parts of those engagements and disastrous parts. It's you know, 50-50. Oh, no, I can't believe that fight happened. And 50-50. Oh, my God, I just hammered him. 3 threes on the way for SERRAL. SERRAL is poised as always, focused and paying attention to the details. Clem also remembers +3. It's delayed, but better late than never. 3-3 is on the way at 12 minutes rather than starting at 18 minutes like on Babylon. And the momentum's still there. You know, Clem's been in SERRAL's phase start to finish. SERRAL's barely got a 5th base up on this left side. He's only on 75 workers. He doesn't have a big bank. But on the other hand, Clem, even though he's traded a few thousand resources more efficient, he's not maxed out, and definitely had to use a lot of his scans up. He's making a 4th orbital right now. You can see how annoying this is for him. He's like, I have... Oh, you can't do it on this overlay. Oh, wait, I can. Hold down shift. He's got 1 scan, guys. He'll have another one in about 20 seconds, and the next one 50 seconds after that. It's not a lot of scans to deal with a man that's throwing Lurkers in left, right, and center. Massling Lurker coming in from the left side. Good scout and pullback. I don't think SERRAL can push here. Surely not. SERRAL, you mad dog. Shoving in. There's no Marines. There's nothing to stop the Zerglings. The Zerglings do not have melee upgrades. Oh, but the tank friendly fire dealing with those SCVs. Good hold position and fighting with the SCVs. The tank does end up clearing up most of those. He repairs the tank. Yes, a few depots go down. But luckily for Clem, SERRAL's Zerglings did not have melee upgrades yet. +3 finishes, so he starts his first melee upgrade. We are seeing 2 of the highest level Zerg and Terran players in the world duke it out now. And you know what? What I think is making this so good is Clem's pressure level is so high, we're just not allowed to get endgame. We're just not allowed. Clem is like, look, there's a few ways to play StarCraft. And I just don't want to sit here and play the endgame. We're not building a wall of planetaries. I will overwhelm you with Bio Ghost. I will, even though I'm adding ghosts and libs and stuff, I will keep attacking. I will keep going. As I'm saying, am I jinxing it? I think I'm jinxing it. He's starting to build more command centers and turrets and sensor towers than he did in the previous games. I may have jinxed it. Sorry, guys. That might be the exact wrong time to start to talk about how he's not going to turtle to the late game. I think actually he is. I think he might put on his Maru hat and try to play some mega late game. This base on the right's very exposed, though. I think he needs to really focus on this base and then expand to these two in the bottom left corner as his next locations. Serral's out there with Bigling Lurker. That hatchery got killed, I believe, not cancelled. Burrow is on the way for Zerg. Baneling speed's almost there. Hydra's coming in. He's got both Hydra upgrades as well as 3-3. Liberator's getting abducted. Not that much bio here. It's coming in. Command Center does lift off. And he actually lands it almost immediately. A couple snipes come in for the punish. Good micro there. And there's still 2 Lurkers hiding down the bottom. Serral's going to wait with those until the opportune time. Serral's adding an Infester right now. He's only got 1 on the map. Barry the Burrow Man, gonna try and sneak in. Turrets everywhere are gonna make that difficult. Remember the Burrow Fungal was so big on Babylon because Clem just had no infrastructure for Burrow. Serral comes forward, he sees the turret. Wow, I always forget how long that Burrowed Infestor vision is. Isn't that kind of crazy that Burrowed Infestors can see that far, guys? I always feel like, wouldn't it be cool if they made it so the Infestor has even longer sight range, like twice that? But it's like a periscope. It can only see in like a line, and you have to manually rotate the periscope to which direction you want it to be able to see. It would be the dumbest mechanic ever. Blinding Cloud coming in on the turrets and the tanks. Let's go. Hydraling Bane getting on in there. Abducts on the siege tanks. Baneling's going after the SCVs. Can they get in? This is a great attack for Serral if he can clear a lot of the SCVs, but he only gets a few of them. He gets a bunch of the tanks and libs, which is not bad. He thinks about running in with the lurkers, isn't quite able to. Still got Barry the Infestor across the gap there, but units lost tab, you can see now we're getting some of those late game Terran trades. And as much as Clem is not a Maru in the late game, I don't think he would ever claim that he's anywhere near as good as Maru at just turtling it up. He's got the flexibility to do it and do it at an incredibly high level. He's got +3 vehicle weapons, he's got building armor, high sec auto tracking, as if the man needed an even higher sec drive. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. He's got bio kind of harassing and clearing the creep. Serral doesn't have that much creep spread on map control right now. Just kind of skirmishing, but when it turns to these small skirmishes, the Hydraling Bane armies don't seem to do all that well. Infestor doesn't seem to have a fungal up here. It's a big bio army. He's just going to click the hatchery and pick up and get out of there using that medevac mobility. Terrans like to complain about recall, but those boosty medevacs, Zerg players sometimes feel like that might as well be recall. Just run in, click some stuff, pick up and get out of there. That's what Infestors and Vipers are for. Parasitic Bombs, Abducts, and Fungal, all very dangerous punishes for that sort of move. Fungal the Bio, can't get back in the medevacs. Abduct the medevac after it picks up, shoot it down with your Hydras, kill a full medevac. These are all the sort of things you can definitely get to. Barry's going to creep over to the right. Wait, no, that's Barry. Okay, Barry has a new intern over here. He's going to move to the right side, see if he can catch some units. Up to 3 planetaries, 5 orbitals. Still no Iron Bank, but with 3 more command centers coming in, it does look like Clem's heading in that direction. Keep in mind, though, when you're investing in the orbital command centers, you're trying to get 8 to 10 orbitals to build up the Iron Bank. You're weaker temporarily, because until you get a lot of time to call in mules, use scans, you're in trouble. And oh my god, watch out for the fungal! Oh, the Infestor's gonna pop up an Omega Fungal land! And a second one as well. Those Banelings get the big juicy money shot. Serral landing. An absolutely delicious engagement. Now he takes some punishment, he loses some Infestors, some units, some snipes and EMPs on the way out. And Clem is still ahead 5,000 resources, but remember, Serral is max, Clem is not. And Clem has one big weakness in StarCraft, and that is his tendency to be unable to holster his excitement. The man loves to jam his army into any crack that avails itself to him. He will attack when he should not attack. And right now, Clem should not attack. He needs to just turtle. He's just dumped all of his money into command centers. It has not paid off yet. He needs to play a very slow, careful game, but he's left his tanks mostly unsupported out here. And here come the Vipers for the punish. Blinding Cloud's coming in. Oh, Serral pulling him back with a handful of Zerglings, and 4 siege tanks go down. Fantastic fight. Even gets a 5th siege tank there. Serral's like, hey, I might as well keep going. He does think better of it at the end of the day there, as those tanks in the middle terrain definitely uncomfortable. Still 1,000 resources lost, more there for Serral than Clem. So you might think, well, Terran's winning. No. Because Serral's remaxing. If he can deny a base with the next wave, if he can break the far right, all this far left, then he's going to be able to use his bank and momentum advantage to win. Problem, he's building a Spire and a Nidus, which tells me the Spire, he's maybe thinking about going Broodlords, and I feel like Serral needs to keep the momentum up. The problem is, how do you break that? This planetary tank setup is gross. Like, look at these layers. There's so many siege tanks. I mean, I guess you just have to go Broodlords. If there's more than 12 siege tanks, and right now there's 12 with a 13th building, I mean, I feel like that's where you kind of have to do it. Neural Parasite! Why are you hitting yourself, Clem? Why are you hitting yourself? Serral with the Neural Parasite in the siege tank there. Baneling's rolling in. Hydra's coming in from all sides. The Planetary goes down. The Hydra Baneling doing what it can. Oh, the Planetary's going to survive. The siege tank got some nasty shots. I think he did a second Neural on that siege tank to keep it going. A single Elbat and Marine in the bottom left side. Serral is now down 8,000 or 9,000 resources, so it is getting, you know, he's not being more efficient as you'd expect at this stage. But he also didn't break a location, and that's the problem. He's keeping his supply ahead, but his bank is running out. It actually feels to me like Clem is now winning this game. He's going to make 12 Lurkers. Ghosts and tanks counter Lurkers, so I think that's a Hail Mary Nidus that he's planning. Because those Lurkers will not win a frontal fight. He's just going to plock them in the Nidus. Okay, he's going for the Rogue. The Rogue/Tark Hail Mary play, guys. I'm going to slide into your back door. Surprise mass lurker. Going to run in, try to kill this planetary, and then maybe run in further into the other bases. This needs to get damage done, though, because it's Serral's last big chunk of bank advantage getting chucked out. And it could work, or it could fail very hard. He throws a Nidus, but he doesn't reveal the lurkers, so... Oh! He thinks about going forward. Another planetary on the left. This is so smart for Clem. Clem realizes if he holds this position, the bottom left is safe. Simply by defunct. It is automatically safe. A lurker did pop out, got sniped there. So by layering tank planetary here, he's turning this into an unassailable position. He is creating a no-go zone. He is building the Maginot line on the left side of this map. It might not have gone so well, but I don't think Serral has any Blitzkrieg left in him. He's got 5k resources in the bank, but it's Hydraling Bane Viper. It's not that great at breaking tank planetary Ghost. Right now, he's getting the occasional abduct quite nicely, but... yeah, a few EMPs can ruin everything. Like, a few EMPs, and that's going to be a big problem. The question is, where is Belgium? Are they going to go around? Is this Belgium? If so, the French are ready for it this time around, mate. They learned from history. Clem is ready. The far right side, you can't get by there with Overseers. There's a turret there as well. Great Aspires on the way as well. Dude, what a series we've got on our hands. Clem is behind in the bank. That's the one thing Serral's got going for him. Clem is starting to push forward. He has to be careful not to overextend. Those are +3 Blue Flame Hellbats, though, ladies and gentlemen. Vipers with some abducts, some parasitic bombs, but my gosh, that line is deep. And remember, a lot of supplies in Lurkers, which are useless right now. The Lurkers are absolutely useless. It's a shooting gallery. It's a turkey shoot, or in this case, a Lurker shoot, because that's the Caprulu sector's idea. You ask the ghosts what a battle was like, they say it was a Lurker shoot, man. They just lined up, we gunned them down. And they absolutely slaughtered that. The Lurkers, I said they were a Hail Mary play, going for 12 Lurkers against mass tank max ghosts. It was all about the Nidus surprise. Clem found the Nidus, shut it down before it got going. Serral was forced to use them in a frontal engagement. And no one wants to use Lurkers against a heavy tank ghost player. You want to use it against... yeah, okay, there's no tanks. There's a good amount of ghosts, but it's mostly just bio ghost. Okay, yeah, let's use Lurkers. Bio mine? Yeah, let's smash with Lurkers, but in the late game, in the statics position like that, the Lurker is really just a surprise backdoor unit. It is not a frontal combatant anymore. And this was just excellently played by Clem. Really, really well played there on Dragon Scales. Clem is up 3-2. All right. Let's go, everybody. It's game 6. This could be the final one. And Serral says, you know what? Screw this link speed business. I'm going 15 hatch, 15 pool. It seems to do really well for him. And Clem is going for 2 racks Reaper. So Clem 1 game away from turning this around. He was down 0-2. He's won 3 games in a row. He's been taking breaks. You can tell it's kind of weighing on him how fast he's having to play. Like, there is this thing where it feels like Serral is making Clem really put so much effort into each win. And as a Clem fan, I'm hoping he can keep the momentum up. On the other hand, Serral, you could see him just do the... he was just doing that kind of... sorry, I hope that wasn't too loud. But I could just see his lips do that exact kind of frustrated, just exhalation, just let the air out, and just kind of going... You know, it's kind of like that thing where you're like, okay, it's just a bit tense. I'm a bit stressed. These games, man. This series started well, but he's a veteran. Serral's been up and he's let them slip away, or he's let them almost slip away and brought them back before. And I definitely think he has what it takes to do that, but he's going to have to just really find a way to play his game. Neo Humanity is an amazing late game turtle map. On the other hand, Serral's so good with Roach Ravager on these maps. It's amazing. Thank you very much, the Hype Train, everybody. Really appreciate the love. We'll give you guys some proper shout-outs after the games. Clem just diving in right now, and he's going to go after that. Okay. So he's trying to pull back. Queen is going to damage that Reaper. Really focused on blocking the base, but notice there is 2 workers on gas. Serral's doing his Roach opening, guys. Ooh, he hasn't done that at all this series. And you know what? He did say, last time I spoke to him, he said people keep blind countering it, so I can't really use it much. But this is the 2 base Roach opening. As soon as that 4th Queen pops out, he'll make a lair. Oh, great grenade. Even better Spore Tricks, though. I really thought he was going to lose a drone or 2. Yeah, he's going to go straight for a lair. This is his 2 base Roach build, guys. So he'll take a 3rd at 345. He'll have a super fast Roach speed started. And the lair starts now. 44 supply lair, just like clockwork. Puts the 3rd worker on gas and expect a Roach Warren and then a 2nd and 3rd gas and then a 4th gas to go down in the near future. You see his drone already wants to get out there to take that 3rd. And behind it, it's a 3 command center build for Clem. The problem with this build, remember, is these barracks are on the natural. And SERRAL can just run across with Roach speed and Queens. Even if you get a Banshee, you can't defend it. And he will force these 2 barracks to lift off. He will kill your add-ons, kill your depots with Ravagers. You simply cannot defend it. I was talking to him about, hey, can't they defend it if they go 2-1-1? He said, even if they go 2-1-1, you can defend the 2-1-1 at home and you can still force these add-ons to lift. And then you're just ahead. Because the 2 barracks, that's 90% of the Terran production in the early game. And like, if you get that, you're in a great spot. And he takes the purple gas base to try and prompt the Terran into being aggressive. Remember what he did with the gold base on Royal Blood. This is the same purple gas that he took versus Maru. And what did Maru do? Maru ran across with his Marines, cancelled SERRAL's 3rd, lost all of his Marines on the way home to Roach speed, and then just straight up lost the game. And Clem might be falling for the same trap. Oh no, Clem. Roach speed is only about a minute away. This hatchery is bait right now, and Clem, I mean, he sees that exposed purple gas hatchery, and he's fallen for it just the same way Maru did. Clem, he needs to kill it and then get out as quickly as possible. The Queen's trying to pull back. Grenade nicely bouncing them. Roaches are here, or Roach I should say is here. More Roaches on the way. SERRAL's going to try and make him pay for this, trying to distract the Roaches and the Queens. Does lose a Roach, loses a Queen. More Roaches coming forward. I'm actually getting a pretty good fight right now, though. Oh, man. He's getting a very good fight. You got to be careful, because remember, your barracks are exposed on that natural. You've got no siege tank behind this. It's all you've got is your Marine count. He ends up trading okay. He gets 4 Roaches, 2 Queens, for only 4 Marines, 2 Reapers. But how do you defend your natural? He's only building, he's going double engineering bay. He's got a tech lab coming up, but he won't have a siege tank in time. And not only that, the Overseer is going to wait in the dead space, and it's going to come in and contaminate that factory before the first tank pops out. Actually, will it? It needs 25 more energy. Siege tank pops in 25 seconds. I think the tank might barely pop in time. This is a really cool build for SERRAL. He's got the rich gas base up, so he's droning behind us. He's gone for 15, make that 17 Roaches, 4 of which he's making into Ravagers. The Roach Ravager does kind of headbutt in a little bit early. Clem, a little bit crazy to fight out here. Does get rid of some of the Roaches and Ravagers, but he loses a few Marines for it. And losing control of this area is a problem. He's already got a depot going down. Oh, combat shields. You can't afford to lose combat shields. SERRAL needs to focus that. He's going to let it finish if he doesn't watch out. SERRAL needs to click on that. He needs to click on that. Oh, combat shields denied with 1 second to go. The siege tank does pop out. The contaminate comes in just seconds too late, as we talked about. That is a problem for Clem, for SERRAL. If he got the contaminate down before the tank popped out, it would be game over right now, because he would force this barracks to lift as well and deny the 3rd. Right now, that 3rd is mining. SERRAL can at the very least move over there. Look at that. Clem goes on an evac mission, saves those 3 SCVs. Oh, he goes for a triple bile dive, takes the siege tank out. The Roach Ravager is here. Remember, SERRAL is not committed. SERRAL is droning and going double Evo chamber behind this, and yet he is owning Clem with this Roach Ravager army. And honestly, like I said, he's already had 1 barracks lifted. The other barracks has lost a reactor. He's got no production. He can't build fighting units right now. SERRAL is droning behind this and macroing up. But this is the weakness of building your production in the natural wall, and SERRAL with this build has found a great way to counter it. And he did this to Maru earlier in the group stage of MC6. And now he's doing it here to Clem as well. Beautiful, beautiful play by SERRAL. Gets himself a massive lead. He's got a 4th base up behind it. Infestation Pit, 1-1 upgrades. And that was an excellent series of trades there for SERRAL. Forces a massive response. It's not game over, but definitely a big advantage because, yeah, you've got 16 Marines out, but where's your production? It doesn't exist. He's building no Marines right now. He's floating barracks onto reactors. He's trying to build new add-ons. And definitely for Clem, he's forced into a defensive stance for a long time in this game. I love this build because with Roach speed, it just makes the Roach such a scarier unit. And you drone your 2 bases up so fast, you always build at least some Roaches and Ravagers there. But they never know, is it 5 Roaches coming across the map? Because remember, SERRAL literally did this, and then later on in that tournament, when players were expecting this Roach shove, he showed 5 Roaches running across. The Terrans freaked out. They were so scared. And then what did he do? He didn't even push with the Roach Ravager. And they were like, what? And then he just had like, was it 8-minute Ultralisks on the field? And he just rushed Ultra Infester off of the back of a handful of Roaches with Roach speed. And it was like, what? It's not easy to read how much he commits. And even in this case, it wasn't a massive amount of Roach Ravager. It was 17 Roaches. Yeah, he morphed a few into Ravagers. Obviously, his 3rd was late and that sort of thing, but it gives him so many options. And that is why that 15-15 in that 2-base opening is so lovely. That Siege Tank, nice pickup. Oh, he eats his own biles, but Clem's pants are down, and you cannot resist that as a Zerg player. You see on Siege Tanks, much like seeing your mortal enemy with his pants down trying to do his business in the woods, there's only one choice there, and we know what it is. You have to run forward and push him over into his own business, and that's exactly what the Roach Ravager did. Yes, they ate some of their own corrosive biles, but they took out the Unsiege tanks, and that was decently worth it. +2 Rangers on the way, as well as +2 Carapace. The Lurkaden coming down right now. Hive is finished. Vipers have started up. 2nd factory on the way there for Clem. +2 attacks on the way, and a 4th command center starting up. Clem says, okay, it's Neo-Humanity. We're going to try and turtle for the late game. It's the only way back into this. SERRAL ain't going to give him that time, though. Because look how far back the tanks have to be safe. So he can actually just corrosive bile. The command centers, the add-ons, the gas workers. Clem's trying to chase him right now. Clem is such a mad dog, dude. Running out there into the Zerg army. It's so crazy, man. He's just like, fix bayonets and charge. And we're like, sir, we're fighting, we're fighting savages with claws and they're evolved for melee combat. And he's like, yeah, we're going to show them we're not afraid of them, man. Put your bayonets on and charge into hand-to-hand combat. If we can beat him there. Whoa, there's a stripper in the side of the map, guys. Oh, no, she's doing a kiss. Oh, and she's spanking herself. Okay, it's the supernova bar. Okay, wow. I never saw that. It's the first time I noticed that Easter egg. I've never seen a drop go that far to the corner on this map. There's drops in the back as well. Coming in here. They slipped that one by Blizzard's team. They mustn't have noticed that one in the corner of the map. Nice. Good job, Mapmaker. Oh, he's going to get the Lurkaden. But abducts into Hydras. Goodbye, full dropships. No reason to parasitic bomb there. But Clem, the opportunist, strikes. He gets the lair, the Lurkaden, just before the upgrade finishes. These are now lair tech lurkers. Snipes the rich gas base. Does have to be a little careful, though. Those Vipers are there, and another medevac goes down. SERRAL's on the warpath. SERRAL, even with lair tech lurkers, can definitely do some stuff here. But Clem's buying himself time. He's got Ghosts on the way. He can float his 4th out to that right side, most likely. He's got his 8 racks coming up with Tech Labs. And yeah, he's going to have his upgrades even with the Zergs, at least for a little bit longer. Double Lurkaden makes perfect sense in this scenario. Make both upgrades at the same time. The problem with Lurkers, we saw in that last game, is they have an expiry date. He was meant to be hitting a very easy timing to overwhelm with Lurker Viper. And now it's like, oh, damn, these Lurkers are down to range. They don't have Adaptive Talons on the way just yet. These aren't the Lurkers that I thought they would be. How many tanks we had? 8 siege tanks. Good abduct. Oh, does abduct another one. Double abduct comes in. We'll lose 1 Viper there, but not too bad. Fire comes forward with a few Vikings to scare him away. I'm expecting lurkers on the left, but it's actually on the right where most of the army is. Those lurkers, I'm like, why aren't they shooting? Oh yeah, they're 8-range lurkers. Second lurker upgrade starts. 4th command center does get cancelled there. Oh no, not another one. Ow, youchies. Getting dived on the right side. Another abduct comes in. These tanks getting picked off. The frequency with which SERRAL uses his Vipers, we talked about earlier today. But Clem did snipe it down with those Vikings. 2 more Vipers will come out, start sucking energy off that hive in just a moment. The buyer's thinking about engaging. There's only 1 tank shelling on those lurkers. Luckily, there's not that many lurkers. They're only at range. They get pushed back. SERRAL is forced to play a longer game. If he loses this game after how this one started, he will be tilted out of this world. And you know he's not happy hanging around with these lurkers. He feels the urgency, but at the same time, attacking with lair tech lurkers is awkward at the best of times. They're just not as flexible and maneuverable as the other ones. Like, he gets a few tanks, but it's not cheap. And these trades are not the amazing trades he'd be getting with 10 range lurkers. There we go. 10 ranges kicked in. Adaptive Talons is here as well. Hold that thought. He's breaking through the command centers. Clem's line is stretched very thin. There's a lurker on the right side. Oh, random lurkers coming in. Don't tell me he doesn't have the scans. I mean, he's got so few units. Even if he has the scans, how does he kill so many units? He's just not quite able to get there. Ghost trying to come forward. A few snipes land, but a few lurker attacks land as well. Oh my lord, the Lings, the Hydras flooding into this natural. There's still a lurker behind that base on their right. It'll finally get taken out, but not before a lot of SCVs have fallen. And barracks are going down. Engineering base stuck on 2-2 upgrades against a Zerg who's making 3-3. Trying to make a Baneling transition right now. And SERRAL, he may have had his upgrades denied. It kind of altered his plan, but he still knew that he had to trade while he had the advantage. And he didn't just trade, he's basically checkmated Clem here. There's only 1 tank left on that 3rd base and a few Marines. The Hydras and the Lings taking care of all that. Clem has to tap out. SERRAL with the classic 2-base Roach build ties up the series, and he gives us a Game 7. Right, all right. It's Game 7. Basilisk SERRAL. You know, I think those people, when they saw him lose 3 games in a row, they thought, is he petrified? Has he turned to stone? Has he looked in the eye of the Basilisk? But no. He kept it together. He played that 2-base Roach build, which I think is so flexible, so powerful, so stable. And to me, it looks like he's doing it again, because he's doing the exact same gas timing. If you see him put 2 workers on gas, then it definitely looks like it. And it is a 15 hatch, 15 pool. Clem is not SCV scouting. Oh, yes, he is. SCV scouting, Reaper expand. Very solid way of opening up here. It's Ancient Cistern as well. It's a big map. And it's a map where I thought SERRAL would be tempted to play Ling Bane because of the spread on the bases, how big it is. You want to play mobility. But look at what Clem did with Ling Bane earlier in this series. Clem is cracked out of his mind on Ling Bane. And I feel like Roach Ravager, at least as the opening, is the right way to play. So I'm happy SERRAL's playing like this. 2 workers on gas, rallies the rest to the natural. It's the build, guys. Same build from last game in terms of the opening. But remember what he did in Masters Coliseum. Show the big Roach all in, kill your opponent. Next game, handful of Roaches, moves across the map, scares the Terran, and then you go fast ultras. I would not be surprised if SERRAL tries to play that style again or something similar. Ooh, nice extractor. Does save it, cancels it, gets the drone back, Reaper has to back off. If you guys want more info, what is the 15-15? A lot of people ask me that. This is a build we witnessed Eric, a Brazilian pro gamer, do a few months ago, 6 months ago, whenever it was. And I got really excited because he beat Dark with it. And I thought it was a really dumb build. Then he beat me. Then I cast him beat Dark. Then he beat a bunch of other players. If you guys want info, type !1515 in the chat. And there's a link to videos from the early days of when I discovered the build, me casting it, and then a follow-up video where I had linked it to SERRAL, and I'd asked him kind of his thoughts about it, and I'd asked Eric his thoughts, and SERRAL had said, oh, it's really promising. And wasn't long after that we saw SERRAL winning tournaments with it, and we were like, whoa, okay, he really thinks it's good. For now, Roach Horn goes down after that lair, 2 more gases as well. You notice that's all at 44 supply that happens, and then he's just drones, 4 queens out. There's Hellions on the way. There's a 3rd command center build into 2nd barracks. So Clem just playing 2-on-1 after 3 CC. Pretty solid build. Creep spreading in the main as well, making sure he's got good coverage. And a 3rd base at 345 into the 4th gas. 3 more drones that he already can rally straight onto that gas geyser. And from there, look how fast. Man, Roach speed starting before 4 minutes. Or in this case, he's a flares just finishing. So what is that, 405? Pretty damn fast moment to start Roach speed. Unless you instance... What? I told you guys he was going to go fast ultra. He's rushing Spire. Oh no, but the Hellion Dive. Clem's going for the Hellion Dive. The Queens. Oh, the Reaper's popping them out of the way. Roaches are here. Roaches are here. SERRAL pulls the drones to block him. SERRAL does not want him to see the Spire. He does not want him to see the Spire. He's like, I cannot let you see this. And he does. He blocks it. He blocks it. SERRAL blocks it successfully. He overseer scouts what he's up against. Unfortunately for him, he's up against 2-on-1. Which means heavy Marines early, which is going to mean the Mutas are going to struggle to find the damage. I do wonder what SERRAL does. Is it just, here's 7 Mutalisks, 8 Mutalisks, run in, do some surprise damage, and then he plays Mass Roach Ravager? Does he try to go back into Ling Bane? I don't think he can go back into Ling Bane from this. Very, very good defense, man. How did he only lose 4 drones for 4 Hellions and a Reaper, dude? What the hell? That was actually insane. And the drone pool might be sus, you guys might think, but I mean, sometimes that's just what you do to defend. I don't think Clem made the read from it. It's easy for us to go, why is he so pulling those drones so early, right? But it was actually an effective surround tactic. If it wasn't as effective, I think Clem would have had his suspicion raised. Because it was, he's fine. Now keep in mind that Overseer, really early Overseer with this build, not only scouts exactly what Clem's doing, but he can come in and contaminate an upgrade, he can contaminate a factory, he can still do all those things that he normally does. Now, the double drop can catch his roaches. That's really good if Clem drops right on top. But he doesn't go for it. He's going to go for the main instead. 6 Mutalisks on the way. 6 Mutas and a bunch of roaches is enough to deal with this. I would go across the map with the Mutalisks if I was him and just bring them back to try to catch the drop on the way home. Let's see what SERRAL thinks. Yeah, he thinks the same. He's going to fly across the map. 6 Mutalisks is... 5 Mutas is enough to one-shot an SCV, guys. So 6 gives you just a little bit of leeway to lose a Mutalisk and still do okay. There is some Marines at home, but there's no turrets. Clem has no idea what's happening. And Clem really, he just cannot read what's going on. He's like, I got tanks real early to be safe against that roach push this time. I should be fine because I don't have my barracks on the low ground. The Mutas fly in and ruin his day. On the other side, he does pick up his Marines, gets out of there, but he's already losing 3-4 SCVs. And this is so nicely done by SERRAL. 6 SCVs. He's going to rotate to the natural, make it 7, make it 8. And he's going to grab a 9th on the way out. SERRAL getting great damage and momentum behind this Mass Roach Ravager. It looks like he wants to go for a Roach Ravager almost all in here. Muta's going to try and take out the Medivacs. They end up taking out 1 Marine. SERRAL does not have double Evo. He does, but he hasn't started his upgrades. That's a bit of a mistake. He's got an Infestation bit on the way. He still hasn't lost a Mutalisk, guys. And they're getting so much damage. The turrets are finally going to finish in at least the mineral lines, but he probably needs a turret up here or at least leave some Marines in the main. 1-1 finally starts for SERRAL. It is a little delayed, but he's just going to play a normal macro game. So he's literally just using the Mutalisks for momentum. And then he's just like, no, just play roaches into like Hive, Lurkers, Vipers. I love it. It's so unnormal. No one does this. It's a super abnormal thing to do. And then a lot of players here would start building Widow Mines, Thors. They'd expect Mutaling Bane. But if he does any of that, it's really bad. It's already good for SERRAL because he got great damage and he's keeping him pinned back, and now his creep spread can spread freely. Clem scans the bottom 4th base. He doesn't know. He sees this. Doesn't know about this base already being taken, and the gases. Hives on the way. Hydra Den, so there's going to be a Lurker Den soon. Look at that. Immediate Lurker Den when the Hydra Den finishes. Oh, SERRAL is bringing the builds out. And this is exactly what struck me about his recent series with Maru. And I remember I was like casting that, and there was people in like YouTube comments and even Twitch chat when I was casting going, Zerg Imba, Zerg's so stupid. And I was like, did you guys not witness what I just saw? Different builds every game that are so hard for the Terran to read and are specifically looking to trick them and catch them off guard. And that's exactly what SERRAL's doing here again. It's how he beat the crap out of Maru in the group stage and the bracket of Masters Coliseum. It's weird new Zerg builds and follow-ups and transitions that we haven't seen before. It's like we're watching Rogue again, a player that is innovating and changing the meta and the transitions and the styles while also being the god of macro. He's not just really good at late game, he's also a tricky bastard in the early game as well. And that's the scariest thing you can possibly play against. It's a nightmare. It's like they took Zerg, Hass, and SERRAL and melded them together into some disgusting hellbeast that is always catching you off guard. Roach Ravager coming in. 1-1's not quite done. He's going Vipers and Lurkers. It kind of feels to Clem like he's getting all in with Mass 1-1 Roach. 2 Vipers on the way. We've got the Lurker upgrades coming in behind it as well. Here we go. Muta's coming in from the right side. Roach Ravager engaging on the ramp. The piles forcing Clem to disengage at the last second. Mutas are doing okay against the Marine rally. I think those Mutas are finally going to go down. Not the best angle for SERRAL until he gets these Vipers here. He's got to pull back. Pull back. He doesn't need to fight so far forward. He's got Lurkers out. Once the Vipers are here, he can cleanse this army. Oh, the Marines are getting move commanded. Clem's not. He finally focuses one of those down, but yeah, he keeps kind of F2ing his whole army forward. Clem's gonna have to deal with those Mutalisks. They even killed the SCV, building the 4th command center. And this is just a masterclass. SERRAL's showing so much range as a player. And look at this, he's ready for it. The Marines keeping the Vipers back. The Vipers going forward, the Blinding Cloud's landing. 4 of the tanks get Blinding Clouded. The Marines can't even fire. SERRAL waltzes over the top of that army. And he says, you were not ready for Lurkers and Vipers this early, were you, buddy? SERRAL may have forgotten to start his 2-2, but it doesn't matter. He got the Lurkers and the Vipers out. He prioritized that. He's now adding the extra Lurker upgrades. I do want to see him start 2-2 in the near future, but he's right now prioritizing Lurkers, Vipers, and killing his opponent. He can add 2-2 later. 2-2 for Clem is not going to stop this advance. It's not even going to finish in time. The Lurkers are there. The Biles take out the tank. The Marines thinking about engaging, but the Lurkers causing them so much problems. One siege tank does manage to get up in the back. The Marines trying to spread out. The command center floating away. Clem is on the back foot. He's been fighting so hard this whole time. SERRAL, the absolute monstrous beast that he is, playing such a peculiar and unique style of Zerg vs Terran all day long, and he is showing that this is a real problem for the Terran players out there. This is not just solid play, it is innovative play, and that is a recipe for Zerg dominance. SERRAL is just so clever right now, and he's really shown that he has so many tricks up his sleeve. 7 games in after barely stopping a 3-game avalanche from Clem that looked like it was going to turn the series around. SERRAL manages to hold on, and in Game 7, an amazing series. SERRAL barely comes out on top. All right, I hope you enjoyed that series from PiGFest. We have been getting so lucky with so many banging series in this tournament. It's been a lot of effort to host it, but it's been all paying off and been so much fun. If you've been enjoying the games, you really value content like this, you want to go the extra mile to support, please check out my Patreon page. It makes a massive difference. Some of you I know are already on here, but if you haven't looked at it before, there's a link down below in the description. Please scroll down, give it a click, and check out some of the awesome rewards you can get while supporting just the vast amount of content that we're putting out on a daily and weekly basis. So thank you so much, everybody, for checking out the video. Check out the Patreon down below, and we'll catch you in the next video. Have a good one. Goodbye and good night.